One cool thing about being an IU student or affiliated with Indiana University is we have access to something called ArcGIS Online. So because we're such a big university, they want us to then have this connection to this big, huge company, and vice versa. So ArcGIS is produced or powered by Esri, which is a major corporation, which essentially has fought off Google and Apple, which has tried to do the same exact stuff, but they can't. Further, you can go across the world and you'll see people are using this particular product, ArcGIS, whether it be ArcGIS Pro, which you can actually do professional mapping, or here ArcGIS Online, which you can do cloud-based mapping here as college students. And this is otherwise something that would cost hundreds of dollars to purchase and have access to. So to do this, because we have special access, we have to do a special thing to do this cartography. And so let's go ahead and click on sign in. And you'll see here you got different options. And so it might pop up first looking like this. You'll want to go down to your ArcGIS organization's URL, and that's where we type in the letters IU. And go ahead and click on continue, and then from here you do your normal passphrase and username and all of that. And once you get to the landing page, you should see something personalized up here in the top right-hand corner related to your username, your name, and so forth. Go ahead and click on Map to access the maps. And so that's the Map tab in the top of the particular web page that you just saw there. And we can do a few different things just to start off with. Let's go ahead and save it. That's something I always forget to do, so let's go ahead and start early and save it. So you can save it as a map, and of course you can go back and later, I'm sure, edit it and change the name. So we'll just go ahead and get a new map here so we have it saved, and you can do various stuff here that aren't so important to an early assignment, so we'll just go ahead and push on and do some cartography. So what we need to do is we need to add layers to this map. And so one of the things is in geography, in map making, we talk in terms of our data is in layers. We add these layers to the map, and we can stack layers on top of each other, of course. And so one of the things we're going to do here is we're going to stack some climate data with some weather data. And one of the things is in this early module we talked about the differences between weather and climate. So let's go look at some and find some data for one particular place. And we can go anywhere in the world. We can go to Singapore, or we can go to San Francisco. We're going to go to Iowa City, Iowa, home of the Hawkeyes, and we'll just go there, and I can just kind of hover around there. You can also search for a place, and so if I wanted to search for Singapore, I could search for it, but we're going to go back to Iowa. All right. Let's go find some data for Iowa City. So what do we have over here is we have the add, and so this is the layers pane, we'll call it, or I'll call it, and then we'll add a layer, and we want to switch from my content to Living Atlas. So what Living Atlas is kind of a way to keep it standardized and on the up and up. This is produced and created by Esri, essentially data that's produced by them, and so it's authoritative, it's legit, it's allegedly legit, it's real. It's not someone just creating data and uploading it, which you can access via ArcGIS Online. ArcGIS Online, there's authoritative, there's legit real data, but there's also not so real data. And so that's something which you want to explore. You can find unlimited amounts of data out there, but we'll just focus in on the Living Atlas. And so once again, Iowa City is our focus area here. I want just data that is for this particular area. I don't want to find typhoon information. I don't want to hear about stuff that relates to China. I want to hear about just data that we find here in Iowa City. And so to help, what I can do is with the Living Atlas, I can go ahead and click on that right there. That I don't know what those are. Whatever. The content, the refine content button, and I can say only show content within the mapped area. I want that checked. And so what that will then do is it'll then just have information that is only specific to this particular map. Still have tons of options available, but it eliminates a lot of excess noise. All right, so I'm going to go find a couple layers of data. So let's see. Let's find the current station data. I don't know if there's a station around here. So one of the things we'll talk about this semester is station data, and there we go. We got a current station and wind data, so add it to the map. Where is it? Okay, there's our legend. All right, and so there's their airports, and there's places where they have stations. And so those arrows are showing me specific weather information at this moment in time, in this case, wind speed and direction. And I could probably click on that and get more information in which it's telling me right now, the temperature is such and such and such and such. So that's a pop-up here. And so you can configure and change the pop-ups as well. So it says different things. You can also change the symbols, I'm sure, as well. But we're not going to really worry about that right now. All right, so I've got some weather data, something short term, what's happening right now. Let's go find some climate data. And so annual mean temp, and we'll see, annual mean, yeah, any of these would be good. Temperature of warmest quarter, I don't know, you can click whatever one, and then if you click on them, here in the overview, it'll tell you what's going on here. It'll tell you what's the data showing me, and so it's giving me historical and future time, so it's giving me projections as well. This one here, average annual, I kind of like this one here. So over, what is a 30-year period. Let's add that one to the map. And so I added surface air temperature. So that's something that's showing me climate-related stuff. Once again, I could go in here, I could type the words climate and find more. Another thing you can do is going back over here, in the filters or the categories, go ahead and click on categories, and in environment, there's one specifically just for us here in G303, sorry, weather and climate. And so these are a subcategory that's specific to weather and climate data. And so once again, a future assignment or assignment, you might be asked to add different data to a map in which you can do whatever you want. There you go. There's where you find a variety of data for a random place. In my case, I chose Iowa City. All right, so I got this map here. Where are we? I can't even see a thing. So this is where we got to do some manipulation or editing of the map. This is where we become cartographers. And so go back to the layer panes. I go ahead and do that by the layer pane by go ahead and clicking on this add layer button. It takes me back. And if you notice, the current weather and wind station data, I can't see it anymore. I can't see it because it's hidden underneath the surface and air temperature, so I just drag it up. And so in the layers pane, whatever's on top will then be shown on top. It's the layer on top. Next up, this surface air temperature. One of the problems is I can't see the underlying base map. I can't see the underlying map that shows Iowa in Iowa City. And so I go ahead and I'll click on that. Click over on this surface air temperature, and you notice over here the properties, the symbology, and all this pops up over here. Okay, so here is a legend that's telling me what these colors on this map mean, and so whatever that's telling me is we are in this taupey color. All that's cool and great. And I can edit the layer style, I can do cool things. Let's change the transparency. Let's make it 35. Or, yeah, that looks good. And so now I can see Iowa City. I can see my place. And so I have on this map, I can see now climate data showing me surface air temperature, the average annual, and then weather data, the current weather and wind station data for a particular place, Iowa City. All right, cool. So now let's start doing some things as far as getting this ready to submit, publish, and export this particular map. One of the most common questions I get for these types of assignments is, can I add stuff myself to the map? And you can, but it isn't really that easy to do. And to do that, go over here to the Add Sketch, and that's where you can then add maybe a dot, a point, a line, a variety of things to a particular map. And so that's just something I wanted to mention. That's for those of you who can kind of, if you want to go figure that out, go do that. But that's not something at all important for this assignment. Your map might be different, but I'm going to have to, for mine, go down to the three dots. And here we can do a few things. We can create an app, which is cool. We do that in our cartography class. But here we're just going to print. And this is where we get to more options. So now you can change the title to something that makes more sense. Iowa City weather, and climate. Yeah, something like that. You can do whatever you want. In cartography, there's 7 things that every single map needs. And so let's try to get as many of those requirements for our map here. Every map needs a title. Okay, just did that. Every map needs an author. And so we'll go ahead and do that. Every map needs also a date. Tell me when it is so I know what I'm looking at. Every map needs a north arrow so I know how to hold the map. Every map needs a legend or a key, something that says, okay, what do those arrows mean on this map? What do the size of the arrows mean? What do the colors of the climate areas mean? So those are things. Other things, source of data. So every map needs to also include the source of the data. Finally, a map needs to have its scale, something that shows me, okay, how far things are. I might not be from this particular area, so I don't know how far Iowa City is from Davenport. So if scale is shown on the map, then that's something that can help the map viewer understand the size, the distance from one place to another. Okay, go ahead and scroll down. Advanced options, that's where we then add our author. We can do kind of cute things, copyright and all of that. Include legend? Yes. Include north arrow? Yes. Include scale bar? Yes. Why? Those are all things I just mentioned were requirements for every good map. So go ahead and export this. Also, what we can do is change the kind of our view. In this case, I am doing a landscape view. I can also change the portrait. That kind of relates to whatever area wherever it's being mapped. In this case, for me, it doesn't really matter. I kind of like this view, and so I'll leave it as is. But for Indiana, let's say I'm having the whole shape of Indiana. Indiana's kind of more north to south, kind of it's tall and skinny. And so in that case, I might want a portrait view, might fit Indiana's shape a little bit better. Whereas Colorado, Iowa, other states that are kind of more rectangular in shape like this, we would maybe think about landscape. Other things we can do here is change whether it's a PDF or JPEG or GIF, whatever we want. In this case, I'm just going to do a PDF. Make sure I'm back into my zoomed area. I accidentally zoomed out of my area. I want to make sure my area that is my focus point, that's part of my title, Iowa City. I don't want Iowa City not to be on the map. Include north there. I don't know why that wasn't checked. And export. And I do the open in new window. And there she be. Title. Got weather and climate data. Got scale, north arrow, name, legend, date. And so here is the requirements for part 2 of assignment 1 once you get to that point.